As we enter the second year of the war in Ukraine, I'm struck by something. Unlike a lot of people commenting about this war and kibitzing about this war, I've spent a fair amount of time in Ukraine. I've been to a lot of these cities that we read about in the news. I've spent time in Crimea. I've kind of traveled all over the country and spoken to political leaders and ordinary citizens all over the country. I haven't been there for a few years, but I have a good sense of the country. And when I draw and of the region, I've worked extensively in the region, studied extensively in the region, written a great deal about the region. And when I draw on my own knowledge and my own experience, I find myself very strongly supporting Ukraine and supporting President Biden's position on Ukraine. However, when I hear the foreign policy establishment, particularly kind of the leadership of the Democratic Party, discuss the war, I get concerned. Because what I'm hearing is a return of a very, very dangerous narrative in American foreign policy, which is that we are always right. Anything that happens around the world is because someone else is doing something wrong. We are incapable of doing anything wrong, and when we intervene, it is always for the better. That is a very dangerous narrative that got us into Vietnam, got us into Iraq, kept us in Afghanistan, etc. So while it is important, in my view, to keep supporting Ukraine, we can't expand this into a broader story about America being the white knight riding in on the white horse to save democracy, peace, and all of that, because that is simply not true in many cases, and it's a very, very dangerous narrative that leads to very, very bad policy decisions.